Good morning to you, Kara. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, Liz. Thanks again for having me.
So, millennials usually are folks in the age range between 20 and 35. Tell me about why this age group is representing such a large portion of property buyers.
Yeah, when there is a generation that represents over a third of the buyers in a market, it's worth taking a look at. So, right now, millennials are the strongest buyers in the market. And the reason being is that baby boomer generation is going to be giving over in the next 10 years by 2030, $68 trillion to this generation. That's 5 times more than the wealth that they have today. And it's one of the greatest wealth transfers in history. And so that's the reason why millennials are the strongest buyers and 37% of the buyer pool right now.
Wow, 37%. Well, how do you think this has affected the market? And what do you think, or what have you seen personally?
Yeah, so we are noticing that the price range from 4 to 800,000 has not been affected. Even in this pandemic, it's been very strong. And the reason being is that it's not only millennials, it's the generation above looking to see, what kind of asset can I provide for my child? And should I do it in the form of a down payment? Should I put it in my name and allow my millennial kid to take over the mortgage? It's a really a really strong thing that we have to look at. It's a very interesting fact.
Yeah, it is interesting, and that's great. I mean, that good for them that their parents or someone in the generation before them is able to help them out with that down payment or help them purchase that home. But what about those, Miss Kara K, those millennials who aren't receiving such an inheritance, if you will?
Absolutely. So as many buyers that there are who are getting down payment assistance from their parents, there are just as many savvy buyers who are taking advantage of these programs where you can only put 3.5 to 5% down on a property and you're still able to get an asset without having a massive down payment. So there are options, even if you don't have an inheritance, but that's a lot of the reason why there are so many millennials out there. A generation that had to endure the recession, get laid off, not get a job in the first place, really making a comeback.
Along those lines, if you're a first-time home buyer, do you get some sort of a deal? I mean, I know that's existed before. Does that still stand? I mean, is there still a first-time home buyer incentive?
There absolutely is, Liz. Yeah, there's an incentive. There are many federal-backed programs. The FHA loan is still really strong. So 3.5%, if you think about that, that's something that's tangible. It's feasible to be able to save when millennials start thinking about, oh my gosh, I need 20% down. It gets a little bit overwhelming. So there are so many different options that you can explore that become a little bit more easy to look at and making happen.
Okay, one last question for you, Kara K. Since I have you here, I want to draw on your expertise. I always hear, and this is for those who may be really thinking about buying in the next few months or maybe even next year. Sometimes they're told or you hear, oh, don't make any big purchases, like don't go out and buy a car. Is that true, and why is that? Or what would you advise a prospective client if they're thinking about buying a house soon, but then, maybe they're going to, think about buying a car?
It's a really great question. I mean, when you're looking at a house, you're most likely in a position to be able to get a new car too, or get something, a little bit fun that might be a splurge. And if you're thinking about buying a home, I would say talk to a lender first and see what your income to debt ratio is, because that significantly affects it, and that can affect what you are approved for. So if you're looking to buy a car and a house, I would suggest doing a house first, but everyone's a little bit different, and talking to a lender can definitely shed some more light on that.
Yeah, because they are going to look, the lender will tell you, you may want to hold off on that because your debt to income ratio will change. Therefore, it may not look good in the next few months for you to buy a home.
Exactly.
Very good
Cars
advice.
Depreciate, houses appreciate. So
yeah. All right. Well, Kara K, thank you so much for dropping in. You okay this morning with everything that has gone on? You and your family and your friends safe?
Thank you for asking. There's a lot going on, and yeah, it's hard to talk about anything but what's happening. But yeah, doing well, and I'm glad you guys are highlighting what's going on too.
Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks,
Talk to you
Liz.
soon.